Good morning, everybody. Let's get this all switched over. Good morning, I am Phil. I am the Down Under Maker. How is everybody this morning? Will it print? That's the big question today. Sorry for the 2 weeks off. In a nutshell, life got in the way. I was looking after a friend's marine fish tank, and he has sea anemones in there. And the reason I gave up my fish tank was I was getting more and more affected by the toxins that the sea anemones and the corals give off if you touch them. And I just happened to be cleaning the glass as the wave makers, the pumps that move the water around, kicked in again, and it blew the anemone up against the back of my hand. And you may or may not be able to see this. I don't know. Let me find a better one. No. That one. Will it load? No, this software is playing silly games again. It says it's working, but it's not. Okay, just back to me. You might be able to pick it up on the camera, but all across my knuckles was all red raw, and I had a rash from here to here where the poisons got to me. So that was on the Wednesday afternoon and my time, so middle of the day Wednesday for you guys. And then by Thursday morning, I was just in no place to be able to stream properly. It was just no. So then last week, I picked up a teaching gig. I was traveling around checking in on work experience placements for students at the school I normally contract with. And that meant that I was making fat cash for driving around and not having to do much other than speak to a few people. And yeah, it's good money for old rope, basically, doing that stuff. So that's why. Now, where are we at with our favorite friend, the box turtle? It was a mission. I dismantled all of the channels, and I'm clipping a little bit, I think. I'm just going to turn that down. There we go. I've glued all of the gear wheels to the shafts to make sure that there should be no slippage. I went through and dismantled the tool head completely, machined out the part of the tool head where the ball bearing goes in. Let me see if I can find the other one. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, you'll just have to trust me. On Filomatrix, there's a groove where the a ball bearing goes in for the micro switch to then press against as the filament goes through. It wasn't working. So machined all that out with a Dremel very, very precisely to just widen the hole fractionally. And that allowed the ball bearing to be able to move in and out freely. And I think what it might have been was just a tiny bit of wet filament. The steam had exploded just at the wrong time, and it had just made a mark on the inside of the hole where the bearing goes, and that's what caused the bearing to be binding up, and therefore the switch would be sticky. So I'm going to switch across now, hopefully to Google Chrome. Will it load? No, as usual, no. Let's go into here. No, not that one, not that one, not that one. There we go. And can you see my cursor? No, you can't see my cursor. Basically, here we go. The cursor's turned up now. We now have all of our sensors working. The filament is detected in all of the lanes and all of the other parts because it's all loaded up. So let's step out of the way for a second, and you should be able to see up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually PLA, so it needs to come out before we can do any printing. And then we can worry about other things. Now, the other thing I've done, having a look here, you can see that I've color-coded my macros. You don't need to worry about the lighting. That's simply for what makes the chamber light up and change the tool head for printing, not printing, that sort of stuff. I've created a whole separate section of macros for box turtle and a separate section for normal printing. The way you do that in Mainsail is you go into the little cogwheel at the top and macros. This allows you to create new groups, and then you can add from the macros that aren't already added to a group into that group, if that makes sense. So okay, I'm back. Fingers crossed we didn't lose the stream too badly then. I'm going to treat this as if I'm starting the stream from scratch because that may well be what's happening. Hi ADD, hi Nick. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys. Please refresh. In fact, I'm just going to go. Hopefully you guys see that. Oh, still here. Oh, great, Nick. Don't know what happened. OBS has gone flaky since the last update. It's lost every change I've made since I booted it up. Hi, Brad. Brad was the person crazy enough to buy some merch. Please buy merch. Help me support the channel. Look, check it out. I posted a picture of the merch that Brad posted on the YouTube channel. You thought it was your internet, ADD. Yep, Greenbeard's still here. Looks like we didn't lose too many people, if any, so that's good. So where are we at? We have... Okay, so I'm going to go back to what we were doing because everybody seems to still be here. We've got the box turtle macros. Let's go to here and properties. No, not that one. That one. There we go. Okay. Let's go. Okay, and let's click here. So what we've got going on is we've got our box turtle macros, our printing macros, our lighting macros. We have channels 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I need to be able to unload channel 4 right now so that we can lane number 4. Send. And that filament has shattered inside the tube, so that could be lots and lots of fun trying to get that out. Yay. For those of you who are new to the channel, here in Western Australia, the weather is not very conducive to leaving filament out like this. It destroys it very, very, very quickly. I'm just looking to see if I can see any filament in the system or not. The other thing I did was I've hard mounted the box turtle so that it doesn't fall off the top, which I accidentally did the other day. I knocked it over and it fell off the top. Didn't break anything, but it was a scare and a half. And I'm just cleaning up some old prints I've got going on. So let's try and load some ABS and we'll see what happens. I fear that PTFE is all clogged up on the inside and I'm going to have to take this off. So, hi again. Let's go back to just me so that you can see it a bit better. What's going on is the green channel thinks it's loaded. It's not loaded. The filament that's stuck inside is triggering the sensor. So I'm going to try one more time to kick it out and see what happens. Yeah, on the plus side, it does seem to be driving the spool, even if it is not quite as grippy as it should be. Leave it till it times out, I think. Now, one thing I found is the way that the top mounts are designed, you can, if you're careful, just leave them without it being screwed to the side of the box turtle. You can just mount it to the top rails, and it's got enough clamping force to be able to hold it quite securely, and it doesn't affect printing. It didn't affect my pressure advance or anything like that. Not my pressure advance, my input shaping in any way. Let's get rid of that camera. because I don't think it's going to time out. Now you can see what I mean. Shit falls off it. I'm going to do an e-stop and a firmware restart. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking to see where this PLA filament got stuck, and it seems to be all the way through to the hub. So let's get that piece out. That red filament is going to be painful today, I know it. Stay. So I've cleared the filament between the hub and the stepper driver. Where'd I put my, there we go. This is a bit of fresh ABS. I'm just going to feed it through into the hub. Yep, that channel is clear. So that's all clear up to there. Aha! I can see I still have more filament in here. Don't fall off. Sorry guys, this is not what I planned. I used very similar mounts on my Quattro box. I found I could screw them to the QB. I believe the printer extrusion mounts were yet. Okay, so that PTFE is clear. I have been planning to print the base plate for the box turtle, but until I've got it all tuned nicely, I think I'm not gonna bother. Yeah, there's definitely some filament stuck in there. There. Sorry guys, I know I've got my back to you. I'm just trying to find, there we go, the coupler so I can press on it. And yep, more filament stuck in here. Clear. Now while I've got this apart, I'm just going to feed the filament through from the top, make sure there's nothing stuck in this upper part. Yep, that's all clear now. Just going to tuck that in because I'm going to need it there in a minute anyway. In there and into there. And from the motor to the hub. Now, if you are stuck in the situation that I've just been in, trust me on this, it's far easier to feed it into the stepper driver, stepper motor section first than it is into the hub first. Okay, so the exit tube from the hub is connected. The hub is connected to the turtleneck, and turtleneck needs to be connected to there. Firmware restart, please. That's not working. Let's jump to here again. Now, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. Clipper of late is not always restarting as easily as it could. And I found that restarting the service is a better way to do it. Hey, is this a merch advertisement right now? I'm on to you. Okay, MCU is doing crazy things. Firmware restart. And we're up and running. I can hear Box Turtle waking up. So where's my camera gone? That's there. I'm going to hook him up there so we can see some of what's going on if we have on the screen or not, and come back to me. Okay, fingers crossed. And that was a macro for the obs bot. Should know better than to do that. Zoom out, there we go. I'm learning all these hand gestures and it's, yeah. Let's go here and go minimal tracking. There we go. Right. Greenbeard, that's a poor choice for a gesture control. Yes, it is. Now, back to what we're doing. Macros are available. We can load and unload filament. Let's load up this green channel. But before I do, I'm just going to trim the end off that. Cutters. There's just a little bit of a stressed area from where it's been pulled through the edge of the filament spool. Ooh, this has gone brittle too. See how we go. And I'm dropping things again. I think I might have to reset that lane. It thinks it's jammed. What have I got going on in here? That's a poor choice. I saw that you can pre-order the audio box turtle enclosure thing. That might be worth it. The problem I've got is, number one, it's going to get even taller than it is. And number two, it's ugly. I'm working on something at school because I've got access to laser cutters and bulk acrylic there. So what I'm thinking is I might just do a simple box to go over the top just to keep things under control. Yeah, as much as the box turtle is good, when it comes to the enclosure, it looks like they went for very much operation over looks, and yeah, it's just not very pretty. So that's where I'm at with it at the moment. What was I doing? I was what does that do? Okay, so it knows that the filament is there because I can see it triggering the sensor, but it's choosing not to ingest it. Lane 4. And we'll do the standard 20 and see what it does. Now, everybody knows that Liz is forever talking about K2 Kevin's clips. I decided to print a bunch and see what's what. Not quite sure if I like them or not yet. I'm just going to clip it on here to give the end of this filament some weight so it doesn't fly around as much. Will it? No, not going to work. Aha, under the foot. Lane prep is detecting. So I'll just show you guys what I'm seeing. Lane prep is detecting. So why isn't it loading? I think there might be filament stuck inside the drive. All right. Let's cancel this and go lane eject 1. Lane eject 2. It's a bird, it's playing no weight, it's Steve flying just towards us. Hi, Steve! Steve, welcome to a very, very bad start to a stream. Things aren't going as well as I would have hoped. That's not even trying to respool, so there's something wrong there too. Do It Canada had a heck of a time getting his box turtle working on Sunday. I think it was something to do with the tool head or the filament cutter. It was awesome when it came together. Let's hope. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, Steve. I didn't know you'd hurt yourself. What happened? If anybody can fill me in just in like 2 lines or less. Get from the attic to the kitchen floor. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Previous house, I was working in the ceilings, replacing a light fitting, and that's not stopping again. It thinks something's lane 4 load detected, so there is filament stuck in there somewhere. Let's do an e-stop again. Because now I can flip this on its side. undo the tensioning screw and see if there's anything stuck through there. Yeah, the previous house, I was working in the attic and one of my beagles decided that she wanted to join me in the attic. She climbed up the stairs, the stepladder, and she was on the top rung just as I was stepping out of the attic onto the top of the ladder. She bailed and jumped and took the ladder with her as I was trying to transfer all my weight. And I ended up on my back going, for about 10 minutes. And there was nobody else home to pick me up, so I had to pick myself up. And okay, that one is definitely empty. Now, let's do a restart of the clipper service. That will fail. We give it a second. And we go firmware restart, and that will bring it back. No filament stuck in there. What does this? Lane 4 load still says it's detecting, so there must be filament stuck somewhere. That's the prep line. That's the load. Stuff it. I know you're not supposed to do that, guys, and it's about to crash. There we go. Let's jump to hands plus me. And let's find something to rest this on. That. Move my keyboard out the way. So what we're currently dealing with is the switch in here currently thinks that there's filament loaded. Now, whether that's the switch is jamming or whether that actually is filament, we need to discover. So I can see filament right there. Aha! But it's not the filament I thought it was. The question is, can we push this out? So, what I can see that you guys probably can't because the door's in the way. There's a very tiny orifice where the filament goes through after it's been passed through the extruder drive. And there's a tiny piece of filament stuck in that section between the switch and the extruder drive. Tweezers. Let's see if I can pull it out with tweezers. What I'm trying to do is get it out without shattering it further. And hopefully that's it. There. Okay. So that is my filament that I'm pressing in and out now. Let's close that up. Your uncle put his legs through my grandma's kitchen ceiling. They were quickly up while my grandma. Yeah, my grandmother was the same sort of don't cross her kind of lady. So where we're at. That's been fixed. I am probably going to have to take these re-spoolers apart again because they are not gripping. But what I'm planning to do, and now I've got to this stage, is I'm going to try powering those motors just off a DC power source rather than off the board so that I can more accurately work out what's going on, because I have glued the gear wheels to the shafts. I don't know where the slippage could be. So unless those motor units have stretched and the gears are no longer meshing, I have no idea what's going on. So let's double check they're all still plugged in. Motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, and motor... Wait a minute. That doesn't say motor 4, it just says 4. No, I think they just cut the label short on that one, so that's okay. There. Okay, so let's turn this back over. That's all fine. I can hear those switches engaging. Up. This is how you make baby esotericals cry. You plug in your MCU board live. And I'm just going to leave it on a slope while we wake it up. Let's go back to just me. And now we're going to go to Clipper and restart it. Wait for it to time out on the MCU. Timed out on the MCU, do a firmware restart. Martin, how are you? And we're up. Here we go. Plug my merch. So let's have a look at this. T0 through to T3 empty, ready for spool. We've been having no luck with that red one in this end setting, so let's try a different color. Okay, that loaded. The nasty white ABS I use for prototyping. And now it's happy to suck in filament, so we are on the right track. Oh, helps if I install the PTFE. Sorry, guys. Let's just take that off before we start. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that I've made some changes on my printer. The V2 used to have neopixels up around the top here. up here. Can't see my hand. Up here. Used to have NeoPixels. The 5-volt regulator on my board was being pushed very, very, very hard. So rather than keep running it very, very hard, I was given some daylight on a stick bars by a local here in WA, West Australia, and because they're 24 volts, there we go. That's loaded. Yeah, because they're 24 volts, I could very simply put them onto one of the Octopus spare hot end outputs. That's not going to end well, that cracked. Yeah, I fitted it to the one of the hot end outputs that I'm not using on the Octopus board. And that means I've got PWM control over it. I think that is just running up against the sharp edge of the filament. Okay, that lane is also loaded. Now for the crazy red filament that likes to dance all over the place. Okay, we have 4 green light people. Sorry about that, and sorry for spending so much time. Oh, hi Dale, how are you? Everybody meet Dale. That's Cyberjack to everybody else. He and I spend way too much time heckling each other on the Big Tree Tech support channel. So let's go back to Hans plus me. No, just me. So, green lights on all 4 channels. Fingers crossed we are ready to do some more. No, there's no smoke. Jeez, what do you expect? It's you who makes things go bang. Okay, so where we're at now. Let's bring up Super Slicer, which I don't even have loaded, or do I? There we go. This, for those who don't know, is the Vector 3D cauliflower. I was doing some tests to make sure that it wasn't my printer that was too far out of whack for some of my printing. So, next. I should have here, or do I not? No, I haven't. It was on my laptop that I did it for practice. What we need to do next is actually configure Super Slicer to be able to send color information to, what do I have it here? No, we need to be able to configure Super Slicer to send color information or multiple channels of information for multiple colors to the printer. So that is all on the Box Turtle website. So let's go here, grab my keyboard, and go back to Chrome. Not Box Turtle mods, documentation. Initial startup, flashing, macros, slicer config. Brent, I've got one I'm trying to use, but Oh, do you know any good resources for super post-processing scripts? Honestly, I don't use them anymore. There used to be the Arc post-processing that I used, but since that got built into Clipper, I've not bothered using it. So, configuring your slicer. The recommended slicer for AFC Lite is Orca Slicer. It doesn't matter. You can use any of them. Other slicers like Prusa Slicer or Super Slicer may be used, and the configuration options within them is very similar, but the naming options are slightly different. If we scroll down in a moment, you'll see that there is actually a section for Super Slicer and Prusa Slicer at the bottom of this page anyway. Okay, for writing a box turtle, multi-material tab, and ensure that you have. Okay, so let's bring up Super Slicer one more time. Let's go to here and let's go to here. You guys can't see that. Let's go. So that's the one I'm on. Let's add a source. Let's add a window capture. Let's add an existing. Let's add Super Slicer and let's click OK. Now we drag it over here. And now you guys can see roughly what I see. Now, let's have a think about this. The only reason I need one is to preheat tools ahead of time for tool changes. You can do that in a macro, Brent. You can simply set the start scripts to have that done. That's easy. And then when it changes tools, you can have your tool change macro set the now idle tool head to a comfortable idle temperature, like 100 degrees, 150 degrees, whatever you want. And then the new tool head is warmed up to its appropriate printing temperature. That's easy. You can do that in macros. So let's go here and go. This is my standard settings. That's what we're going to use. We're going to go into edit preset. Now, what we're going to do before I break anything is we're going to go save current print settings as a new config, and we're going to call this sorry, you guys might not be able to see this because it's a pop-up. I'm just going to change this to say box turtle, and you should now see that that's now called box turtle. I don't want to save over that old set of settings, so I'm making sure that I keep them available to me. Oh, I mean to replicate what Orca does so that you set a time, let's say 30 seconds, and it'll heat the next tool ahead. That will need a post script, I guess. Maybe have a look at how Orca does it and see if it's actually a script or if it's got some magic that happens and it just inserts it. Brent, jump onto the Super Slicer Discord and ask. There's a guy called Jay Beamer who is the guy who wrangles, I forget his name, the guy who's the main dev for Super Slicer. Jay Beamer wrangles him and keeps him on task because he seems to get lost on his tasks quite regularly. And he will then be able to make sure that you get the right information. Just going to move that so. Okay, now I'm on top of the Super Slicer window so you can see me a bit better. So we need to go to printer settings, extruder. Now, it's something here. Number of extruders 1, single extruder multi-material we need to enable. That's this little tick box. Now, there's something you have to do to unlock this. I forget what it is. Let me have a look. No. Ah, that's what we need to do. We need to set it as 4 extruders and then tick the box. So, number of extruders 4 tells it that we've got four sets of filament going on, and then we tick that to make sure that they're combined into one. So now you'll see here we've got extruder 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're virtual extruders. It's all the same extruder. It's just simply saying that I've got 4 color channels now to play with. So now moving back across to this. For the printer, you're using Box Turtle to blah, blah, blah. Enable purge into Prime Tower. Now, the awesome thing about here is Wipe Tower. Priming, prime extruders, yes. Enable Wipe Tower. So that's that enable Wipe Tower there. So that's turned on. And moving on. Also on the extruder 1 settings page, reduce the retraction while material length from default to 2 to 0. So let's be back in here. Retraction. Retraction when tool is disabled. No. Steve, do you remember how to set this up if you're still around? Layer change, mount before wipe. Retraction when tool is disabled, advanced settings for multi-extruder. Retraction when tool is disabled, no. Tool change string reduction, that's what it is. I'm not going to worry about this for now. There's some of this stuff that didn't directly correlate, I remember from when I was playing with it. Increase the number of filaments to match it, or don't need to worry about that part. Print start macro we now need to adjust. Printer settings, custom G-code, print start. Okay, so we've already got the initial M104 and 140, which basically turns off those heaters before it starts to make sure that it's reset. I've got all that set according to my macro, so that's fine. T next extruder equals copy. Control V. Oh, there. Control Z. Can't do that here. Z, delete. Tool change, G-code. I'm here, but not on the spot. Okay. Ah, there's a special one just for Prusa and Super Slicer. Because AFC Clipper add-on handles any tip forming in the extension, we need to disable specific settings in the slicer software. Well, there's a screenshot of how to do it in, but mostly have a similar dialogue. We're not doing tip forming, we're doing cutting, so we don't even need to worry about that. So let's go save. Let's go here. And go, yep, that's all saved. So next step, hopefully. Aha, the full print start macro. Updating print start. Add the tool parameters we added. Okay, so set tool initial is the only one we need to add because all the rest of them are already done in mine. So now we need to go back to Clipper. Machine. Now I have a start and end macros. And it's a dog's breakfast. So just jump back here. That goes in with the right, so AFC Park needs to go in. And that goes in after I've homed the printer. Then it sets the temperatures. Sorry, I'm reading through this and just making sure, and we need to set T initial tool. That then warms everything up to the, oh, it needs to go in before the standby temperature. So let's move that. They do things in a different order. I don't think that it's actually going to matter. Okay. They do then do all their homing. There's another AFC Park before the final temperature on the tool head. And then it's a go nuts. If you're modifying an existing macro, add the blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just going to go with what we've done and save. Right, so where are we at? Let's go back to Box Turtle, click on Next for troubleshooting. Time to serial. If you've completed the above, you're ready to attempt a Box Turtle serial print. The latest information on the serial print is here. Download that and minimize, and I'm just going to go over to my full super slicer, maximize that again. Okay, so "3D view, will it load?" Control A to collect all of the things, go to downloads, open. So there we have it. The purge block, the turtle, and 4 different things to change the colors of. So extruder 1, 4, 2, 3. It's already picked the extruders up for us, so it's already set to go. Has anybody done this before? Should I just click and hope and pray? I know what I need to do before we go any further. First of all, I'm going to start warming up the bed while we do this. And I need to unload the filament that's currently in there and connected directly. So come back to just me for a minute. So currently, as you can see, got my PTFE into one of my Sunlu dryers because that's what I was printing from, and I need to move it across to the turtleneck. So I'm warming up the hot end so I can get this filament out. Get rid of that. Go to there, close that. Dashboard. And what temperature am I at? I'm at 220, that's close enough. And extrude 50 millimeters at 10 millimeters a second and retract. And retract again. And I'm loose. Now, some of you saw last stream, because it wasn't last week, it was last stream, that I've also set up the, well, I've built the bypass. And I've got the wire connected for the switch so that it can tell the AFC that it exists, but I haven't wired it in yet because I'm not game enough to add that as something else to go wrong. I want to get printing first so we can actually have some fun before I run the risk of making things harder on myself. So, other things. You may or may not be able to see it, but under here, I have heavily modified, oh, I should stop moving around that much. I've heavily modified Steve's exhaust port on his GitHub to allow me to have CPAP and a PG7 or is it PG9 adapter and the CPAP intake and a PTFE. Thanks, Steve. It was a lot easier to plagiarize yours and move things around than it was to do it all from scratch. Let me see if I can get my other camera to come up. Will it load? Come on. It says it's awake, but it's not. Let's see if we can attach it to the virtual camera instead. Aha! So yeah, inside we've got the CPAP intake, the CPAP hose, and then the PG9 and the PTFE tube. It's not perfect, and what I've got is I've got some of the cable loom stuff coming. In fact, it could arrive any minute, and that will mean that I can wrap all that up in a very nice save. Okay, I can wrap that up in a very nice bundle and keep it all together, and that should make life a lot simpler and a lot less likely to tangle. Me plus hands. No, that one, just me. So that is all clear and ready to go. Let's YOLO this thing. Back to Super Slicer and maximize. And let's go slice now. Now this is the 27.62 beta. It's the very latest of nightly builds. Conflicts in G-code path. Let's have a look at this one more time. Purge block's in the wrong spot. Slice now. Slicing has finished. It didn't chuck any errors that time. That could have been interesting. Don't purge into the model. Yep. Upload and print. Now the heated bed is already up to 90. The hot end is already in free fall down to its 150 target, and we shall see what happens. Number of tool changes 37. Estimated print time is an hour, which is going to be painful. Sorry, I desperately need a lolly. I've got a sore throat. No, I know it's an ABS print, but we want to be able to see what's going on. No, can't do that because the machine will hit it during its QGL. Now, for those of you who are relatively new to the stream, I have 2 small children. That means I have many, many, many diaper boxes. So they come in very handy for some things. Let's straighten that up so you don't feel too seasick. Better. Tool changes at a load of time. DeWitt did say how much. but I can't remember yet. I'm guessing it's going to be around 20 seconds a tool change. And I'm also guessing I'm going to run into trouble with those respoolers not respooling properly, but we get what we get, I guess. Not that one. Not that one. Let's make me bigger and hope. Hopefully I'm back. Hopefully I'm back. Am I back? Yeah, Nick, there was an F, but am I back? Please tell me I'm back. Back, yay! Steve, if you're still around, don't adjust anything. The recent OBS update has killed lots and lots of stuff, and resizing anything causes it to crash. Like anything at all. Meets 2. So I almost never resize midstream. Yeah, I'm slowly getting there with all of this stuff, but I tried to set up YouTube chat so that it comes up sort of middle of the screen on the right hand side, and every time I tried to set it up, it crashed OBS because you have to adjust the size ever so slightly, just cause it to go bang. Where are we at with the okay, so we're about to hit 150, which means it'll do its QGL. Now, hopefully that's not getting too chunky when it does its zipping and the video encoder can keep up. It looks like I might be losing 1 or 2 frames to the encoder as it zips backwards and forwards. For those who are wondering, I'm not using 24 volts. I can't talk about what I am using, but I'm not using 24 volts. Two 20-volt steppers, that would be dangerous. Okay, I'm not hearing anything from box total, which is scaring me a little bit, but it's warming up. Let's go back to here. Let's turn that one off. Originally, the machine was set up to do stealth changer, and I was just working on getting all that done. And then a whole bunch of parts went missing in the mail. So when they went missing and then Box Turtle came along and I really wanted to get streaming going, I just went stuff it and splurged with West 3D and their first time discount code. Speaking of which, if you are a first time West 3D buyer and you or at least the first time using that stream as code. Pesliz, Zombie Hedgehog, Lee 3D. I presume Steve will all have codes. Okay, it's parked. Is it about to do some loading? It's trying to prime, but there's no filament loaded. Extrude only too long. It hasn't loaded the first filament. So, let's try some macros. I just hit Berserker Rewards level at West 3D, which is 5% off. Unfortunately, with the international shipping, it's just not practical for me most of the time. But West 3D it was a thing of between the 5% discount and the fact that I managed to get it on the pre-order, which got me the priority air freight. It meant that I could get the Box Turtle landed like 3-4 weeks before they were available here in Australia. Let's just try loading this some more and see what happens. Let's go 80 millimeters and not lane 1, 80 millimeters, send. Well, that's now cooling down. Shipping's reasonable when you live around the corner. Yes, I guess it would be. I guess it's also expensive as well, because if you're only 15 minutes away from the shop, you're buying a lot more than you would ordinarily. Should we say screw it and install Orca Slicer? Now, the other funsies thing is that my laptop was not... That's not Orca Slicer. Download for Windows. No, go away, adverts. I wonder if any of you caught the brief glimpse there of one of the things I'm potentially going to be doing as one of my upcoming projects. Greenbeard, so weird with so much is manufactured in China. I think that it's all manufactured in China, but then the US takes up the bulk of those orders. I mean, to get stuff from China, the shipment that should arrive any minute, because I know that it's out for delivery, I ordered 4 days ago from AliExpress, and it's already in the country and it's already on board with drivers. So logistics have become super easy here in Australia, especially with you guys in the US not being able to take as much as you have been. Yeah, we can get stuff delivered super fast now. Now I'm going to jump in on the printer and I'm going to go 110 and 150. So it's all kept warm and we don't have to wait as long. You don't think that's the official page? Now, Super Slicer is having exactly the same problems. So I'm going to cancel this. Are you sure you want a quick setup? Yes. And I'm going to go open the downloads folder and delete, minimize. Yeah, SuperSlicer's got the same problem. There's a superslicer.net and somebody squatted it and is linking to the downloads, but the hashes don't match. So 99% certain they're doing something to the content, but there's nothing we can do because the domain registration is outside of the countries where they give a damn about that stuff. Did that come down? No. Need to keep scrolling. Linux, Windows installer, Windows portable. That's better. Sorry, I know you can't see what's going on because I'm not doing a live window capture, but it's just doing the Orca Slicer install at this point. Minimize, 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 minimize. Orca Slicer launch. Now the downside is this is not going to have any of my standard profiles in it. So I'm going to have to just go with the profile that they have and adjust the nozzle. We have almost burnt an entire stream and we've achieved basically nothing. Why are you looking at nothing? Because Chrome browser is minimized. Let's go to hands plus me. There we go. Orca's still finishing off its installation. Now, one thing I will be able to do later if I need to is Asia Pacific. Clipper with a 0.6 nozzle. Actually, let's scroll down and see if we've got Voron with a 0.6. Voron 2.4, 350 with a 0.6 nozzle. Next. Get rid of Bamboo because I'm never going to buy it. Esun, get rid of. Lees and Overture. Overture is basically Polymaker anyway. Sunlu I do have some. Actually, let's leave Esun on there because I can play with that. Fiberon Pet CF I've got coming anyway. Sorry, I'm just adding a couple of filaments. Polylite ABS, which is what half of this stuff is. And next. Enable stealth mode. No, don't need that. Oh. Install the Bamboo plugins. Hell no. Open a project. Downloads. Box Turtle. Okay, now bear with me a second. I'm going to jump into here. I'm going to add a source. I'm going to add a window capture, create a new and call it Orca, and then pick a window. Haha! Hopefully you can see that. And I'm not going to resize it. I'm going to leave it as is. Or should I? Should I risk it? A little bit. A little bit more. And I'm going to drag that to the bottom. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave it for that. I'll adjust window sizes offline when there's no risk of things going walkabout. So we needed to do some setup. Let's jump back to the Box Turtle site. Did I close that? Yeah, I closed it. I feel like I didn't prepare enough, guys, and I apologize. Initial startup, slicer config. So for the printer itself, prepare, connection, Ultra printer or clipper, test, working correctly, click OK, go over to device, and it will log into it, so that's fine. Down on Maker, seeing the struggles folk have is informative, don't apologize. Thank you. So, where are we at? We've got 4 lanes. So it looks like that's working. I'm going to go to 0.28. I normally use a 0.3 layer height. Multi-material, enable. Prime tower width. Single, so on the multi-material, enable it. And prime into tower, I need to enable. I don't have prime into tower on here. Aha! I have to be in a different section, that's why. Purge into prime tower. Enable filament ramming, which it was talking about, we also need to enable, so I've done that. Manual filament change is off. There. Add as many spools as it takes to give you 4, which we've already done. Set the machine to appropriately for your printer, specifically the tool initial tool. I think I've just spotted where I've gone wrong in my other setup, but I'm going to go with this. Copy. And back to Orca. Machine G code. That's already got tool initial in there. Next extruder, right, let's go to here. In the change filament G code. Change filament G code, Control V. I think that's it. So now we go to the print start macro, and that's actually on the printer. So that shouldn't need any adjusting because we've already done that. So let's go back to Orca and close. Okay, so we've got the wipe tower. I'm going to bring that in nice and close. I like to keep things close to the center of the bed so nothing's going to nothing silly is going to happen. Let's just go one more time to machine G code. That's all handled on the machine. Are we ready for another YOLO? Hi, Betty. So, slice plate. Print, upload and print. And oh no. Let's jump back to here. Something's not quite right in the default details. Stop. I'm going to have to e-stop it and restart Clipper service. Bringing you guys into what's going on. For some reason, it set the default temperature on the printer to 60 degrees for the hot end. Now it's in my start macro. Oh, sorry, it set the bed temperature to 60 degrees. So I'm just changing the default temperature because obviously this is something not quite right with the way the macros are lining up. Actually, you know what? Give me a minute. Let's go to... So the way the parameters are being passed, the names aren't matching up. So I need to change that one as well. Right, so what I've done is I've gone through and I've realigned a few things. I've changed the outputs of the Orca Slicer parameters to match what Super Slicer has and my printer has. So fingers crossed it should now work. So let's go back to device. Let's go back to dashboard, box turtle for serial, print. And let's see what happens. Okay, so we're now heating to 110. That's a good start. Let's bring you in on that. Actually, no, this one is that one. Oh, the overlay surface doesn't load. That's interesting. Let's go to that one and go there. So what was happening was the bed temperature by default, it was set to 60 degrees as the standard, which I used to use for PLA. And then the variable is passed as a string, and that the name of the string wasn't lined up. Easy fix, change the default to the proper ABS temperatures. Do you reckon it'll start printing before the end of the stream? This has been frustrating, but hopefully informative. Okay, while we're waiting for that to warm it up, I have been doing some printing. Can't remember where I've put it, but I've been doing some printing. Not in that cupboard. Must be this cupboard. No, not in that cupboard. And I've printed the, wherever I put it, the latest stealth press. So I'm getting really overdoing this box turtle, I'll be honest with you guys. So regardless of how this goes this week, next week is going to be the stealth press for something a little bit less stressful and something that's going to actually work. I've got the matching soldering iron for the size of tool head holder on it. So that made life easy. Where are we at? We're at 86, 87 degrees on the bed at the moment. So yeah, next week, regardless of what happens here, is going to be the stealth press. If this works, then we will do a sort of a little bit of a print and chill thing. At the same time, I'll have some multicolor prints going and we'll have some fun. And then the week after, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, to be honest. I've got a couple of ideas, including my wife saw the 3D sets trucks, and she is very, very interested in me building an RC truck for the kids. I think they're a little bit too scale model-ish for the kids to be playing with too much, but if nothing else, I've been given sanction to have a play. I see you are my favorite panel clips. So many people like the annex clips. I don't like these. I'm just too lazy to change these. I'm constantly having to replace the filament because just like on my spools, the filament that runs through them, it goes brittle. Sorry, ADD kind of got me there. ADD, what's your real name? Because I'm sick of calling you ADD. It's hard work. I mean, I can call Greenie and I can call Beardy, but ADD is just hard to say all the time. So yeah, 2 weeks. If it all comes together, then we're probably going to start on one of the 3D sets trucks. Adrian. Okay, Adrian, much easier. So 3D sets truck, if that works out and I can get all the gear together. If not, then there's a couple of other projects I want to get done around the workshop here. I've got a V0 that desperately needs a new tool head board and some rewiring. And I've also, I'm planning on moving my ERCF V2 to my Ender 5 and giving it a much better tool head. So that's also a possibility. I've got a rail sitting here that's suitable. And yeah, that might be what we end up doing is upgrading the Ender 5 to some new stuff. Adrian, I've had the same filament in mine for 2 years. Use PETG though, so many. That's why it's good. That's why I've had it. Yeah, PETG might be worth a try. I've got a whole crapload of that clear stuff from the LDO box turtle kit, so maybe I'll give that stuff a try because it wasn't printing clear. It just wouldn't print clear no matter what I did. It's just frosty. I have got some Polysmooth on the way, thanks to it's constantly being peer pressured by Peslers and Zombie. PETG on nylon will probably work better. There we go. There's 2 votes for PETG, so I'll give that a shot. I've actually got 3 more clips sitting on my bench because the filament snapped off and I haven't had a chance to replace it. The other thing we might do is, if we do get it working, is play with the bypass and get that operational. Where are we at with our temperatures? We're at 108, so it's going to start its tool head warm up in a minute. Okay. That all looks good. That all looks good. Sorry guys, at the moment I'm talking to you guys and I'm just checking everything's tool head is warming up. While we're waiting, let's have a look around. Now, I felt a little bit of peer pressure, I'm not going to lie. I saw Steve's boxes with all his screws and nuts in, so I have been slowly working my way around and labeling mine. And my OCD got me, and I needed to put the diagram, a diagram of the things on the front. But then my 3-year-old decided that she wanted to stick the stickers, so most of these stickers aren't straight, and it's really irritating me now. And I've also managed to bring my second set of drawers over from behind the monitors so that I've got easier access, and started labeling those as well. Close that before those magnets go everywhere and the kids eat them. So yeah, I am slowly working on making sure that the workshop is presentable. Hi Bill, just stop by to drop a like. Busy getting ready for Rocky Mountain, nice. I'm talking to my wife about maybe going to Smurf, but that's a big flight with kids. And I definitely wouldn't bring the kids to Smurf, they would run amok. So I might leave my wife with my family and she can hang out with them. Flying with kids is definitely stressful. The little guy is 20 months old, and he's at that stage where trying to get him to sit still is just impossible. Oh, Adrian, if you'd seen my desk yesterday, you wouldn't have said it's tidy. It was just a mountain, a pile of stuff. So you guys can't see me. Okay, it's parking the tool head. Move out of range to -1, -1. What's causing it to move out of range during the startup? AFC Park toolhead. So there's something wrong with the location of the AFC Park macro now. So let's jump in here and intervene and go 150, 110 and 150, so we don't have to wait for it to warm up a second time. Hi projects! You're missing a very frustrating stream where nothing is going right. So you're not really missing a lot. We've just seen that the AFC Park macro is doing strange things. Macros AFC Park. So that's all in the variables. Okay, so close that. This is the position of the tool head where the cutter arm just like, haven't set that. That will probably explain why we're having difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't set my cutter location. It never said to set the cutter location in any of the setup. That's harsh. Well, I know that it's 0 and I know that it's about 345. So I'm going to leave those there for a minute. And we're going to check that dashboard. We're going to go X of 30, so that's close. And now I'm going to jog it in 10 mil. Okay, so I'm going to need to jog that out and go plus. So what's just happened is it's just crashed into the side of the printer without actually triggering the cutter arm. So let's go Y340. And then we're going to go X of 10. And if I go to 348, $349 should be bang on. Yep, 349. And let's go to 5. And jog it down by 1. So it's 2 by 349. I'm just going to make it, 2 by 349, that works. So let's go machine. Macro variables. 1 and 349. Is there anything else we need to set here? Ah, 6. So let's make that 10. Bye, Bill. Yeah, Biddy, I built this in about 22 hours. I'd watched Steve's stream and Taylor's streams, and armed with that, and I do this sort of stuff for a living, building stuff at work with the school kids. It wasn't that difficult. I just set it up all up on the stone bench top and then avoided wife rage by doing it mostly when she was out and overnight. So let's give this one more go. Print. Now, full disclosure, I have just added in 0.3 of a millimeter of Z adjustment because I realized when I was printing overnight that it was just too close to the bed. and I haven't yet had a chance to properly redo my Kato calibration. Building is easy. It's this niggly software stuff that irritates me. It took me about 3 days before I was really happy with how it was printing. Some of that was finding a location to actually put it, because the place I thought it would fit, I had maybe there's overhead cabinets and there was maybe 10 millimeters not enough clearance. And even taking the feet off, that they were still rubbing between the bench top and the overhead cupboards. That was before I got this printer rim that I've got now. While waiting for all this, because I know a lot of you guys haven't seen my workshop. Let's come out a bit and give you the panoramic. For those wondering why I have weird PowerPoints at the tops of my walls, I used to have an 8 foot by 3 foot by 2.5 foot tall marine aquarium, and I needed lots and lots and lots of power. So rep rack across the top, and my printer bench, bug spray. We have very, very big bugs. We go through lots of spray. And beneath that, a full wall of cabinets full of filament and other stuff. Then this is what I'm looking at when I'm looking at you guys. It's Inception. And lots of storage and another workstation and computer and my microscope. I mostly use the microscope for micro soldering for kids' projects. Beardy, maybe what we need to do is team up. I do all the building and you do all the software. Let's go back to, no, not that one. That one. The shipping might be annoyingly expensive, but. So where are we at? The bed is just synchronizing back down to 150. Nick, I see what you did there. I feel like if I'd been in Modbot's situation earlier today on his stream, I would have been far more comfortable than I am right now playing with all this software. He had a lot of headaches trying to work out what was going on with his lead screw, and it didn't help that a lot of us were heckling, "Hey Nick," from the sidelines. But we eventually worked out that his tensioning on his lead screw was knocking things out of adjustment. I mean, I'm not quite that bad, Adrian. I kind of do understand what the software is doing. It's just the niggly little changes, and sometimes getting the context wrong is what gets me. Some of us were more constructive than others. Heckling Modbot's part of the fun. It's more difficult when Steve's on those streams because Modbot always goes back to him. It's dancing. Move out of range. -1, -120. Extruder is also not hot enough. Let's go back in here. Oh, we changed that, but we didn't save and restart. Variable. There we go. Let's go 5 and 5 for now. I can come back and change this. Change me. Kickstart location. Let's go for 5 and 5. Brush location. That's going to be along the back somewhere, so we'll call that 352. No, that'll be 40x, 352 on y, and 2. Park location 350. Let's go 345 and 350. Save and restart. Dashboard. Come on, let me start printing before it cools down again. Print. Has anybody else got the Moonraker helper installed on their printers? It's cool. My watch keeps buzzing me to tell me that I've got Moonraker things going on, which helps in the if I'm doing other chores and the printer crashes or something silly. And it especially helps at school if I'm doing print jobs and I know when a print finishes, because you could have 10 or 15 printers running simultaneously. It's part and parcel of the same stuff, Adrian. This is like the helper, which it does gives it extra access to things on the printer. It's part of Kiahu or Kiao or whatever you call it now. I guess the question on will it print in my stream title, the answer is pretty much no. That's not. Oh, okay. It must be the AFC parking thing. Okay. I can see I'm going to have to work through all my macros and then work out what to keep and what not to keep. I also could probably do with a PID tune according to this, because I'm overshooting quite a bit. But having said that, I haven't done a PID tune since I swapped over to the Obsidian high flows. So that could be it. Slowly settling in. No, not that one. It's not loaded any filament, fellas. It's lane 1 hub not clear. Trying to load. Tool unload is not responding, presumably because it's not needed. I went to Oz Manufacturing Week yesterday. Aside from the insane machinery, I saw that was a pretty decent turnout in additive manufacturing space. Nice. Any companies we would know? Let's go lane move. Let's go 400 and send. Ooh. I don't think that's moving the full 400 it says it is, but resume. I don't think that's going to prime enough, but I'm going to see if I can blag it and go extrude 50 mil at 5 mils a second, extrude. Longest stretch in the world. Sorry guys, I'm just see if I can get away with this stuff. I'm beginning to think that the blade is stuck, despite all my good intentions. Retract 5. $50mm extraction, 10 and extrude. Right, I've got my fingers exactly over where the filament stops, and I'm going to do a measurement of the length, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be exactly where the blade is. Yep. I really like to give you guys a better view. Let's see if that works. Ah, crap. Guys, it's 5 minutes past my end of normal streaming. The filament is just broken in the top of the stealth burner. It's going to take me an age to get that out. We're calling it. I'm sorry. Let's go back to this. There we go. It's been long. It's been frustrating. I kept my cool as much as I can, but I'm rapidly approaching the end of my tether with this. Where we're at. I'm pretty sure that the blade is currently sitting across the gap between the top half of the stealth burner and the bottom half of the stealth burner. And yeah, Nick, you're exactly right. I'm taking it as my sign. I've just broken off the filament I was trying to push through just to... the green filament is under tension at the top from the box turtle drive, so I couldn't easily play with that. So what I was trying to do was use other filament to push through just to make sure that nothing was clogged. And it's all just being painful. So what I'm going to do, let's do something sensible. Let's set this to a nice high altitude of 150. Let's turn the bed temperature off so I don't burn my hands on it. Let's change that to... Oh, it doesn't. Let's change that down to 150 so I'm less likely to burn myself on that. Let's move Y to 10. Let's move X to 175 so it's in the middle. And we're going to call it. Right. So, like I said, next week, I'm going to be working on the stealth press. I need some time off from this just to get my head straight and do some tweaking. I might cheat on you guys and do some futzing with it and see if I can get it all working. The manual, as you guys saw, it doesn't say to make any changes to any of those macros. It doesn't say any of that. So that's a bit of a pain in the backside. We have fixed those, I think, or certainly got them very close. I'll get all those dialed in terms of where the wipe location is and exactly where the plunger is. I might move the plunger a little bit closer to the front. It was making contact with the cutter arm, but not as much as I would like. It was enough to make it work, but obviously other things are conspiring against me. So with that, it's time for me to hop on out of here, and I will catch you guys all next week. Thanks for your time, fellas.